Here we are, baby. Here we are. Welcome. Welcome to Sam Roberts Now. Hope everybody's doing great on this lonely, always so lonely Friday night. And how do we know that it's lonely? Not just because I'm here. No. Of course, we need everybody's favorite lonely TV star. And I call him a TV star because his face is on a television. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. Hot dog.
I was trying to figure out, right? I decided not to do it, but I was going to start off today by singing Stand By Me in a very long, awkward scene, like in The Curse, where that where the actor just does it for a little bit too long.
And it just keeps going. Yeah.
I thought I couldn't hold that bit on for that long.
Well, don't worry, Hot Dog. I mean, the beauty of you is that you don't have to try for cringe, you know?
I just am.
Yeah, you just exist. Welcome to the show, everybody. You know how we rock and roll here on Sam Roberts Now. Every super chat will get acknowledged. Like, subscribe, do the whole thing. And we've got a lot to cover tonight. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. And today is the day. Today's the day to talk about it. It's Curse Day. We have to talk about the show The Curse. Now, Hot Dog, I got very, very excited because I did not tell you in advance. I mean, I told all of you a week ago that we were going to discuss this. So if you guys just decided to not listen to me, then that's really your problem. But
that's the point of this show. Listen to Sam.
Just watch the product.
Just watch it.
I mean, that's all you got to do. Just listen to do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? All you have to do is listen. So I wanted to do this, and I've been waiting a couple of weeks to do it. And I didn't tell Hot Dog because I figured I'd do what I do with most horror movies and just kind of explain it to him. And he'd go, what? And
Right.
then the group text started going off. And of his own volition, I think partly because he knew I'd be obsessed with it. Hot Dog, you watched the show yourself, yes?
Yeah. Because I don't like being left out. So when I hear you and Travis gushing about it, I got to be a part of it.
And can you imagine now if I had come on here and just with no context, out of the blue, tried to explain to you what this show was?
Impossible.
Impossible.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how you're going to be doing this to people who haven't watched the show. It's going to be impossible to follow.
Well,
not to get ahead of ourselves, but good
we'll
luck.
get there. We'll get there because this is full spoilers, by the way. We're going full spoilers on this. If you don't want spoilers, click out of this, go spend the next 10 hours watching and come back because I did something that I was glad that I did. So when this show is first announced, this is, of course, Nathan Fielder, who anybody that knows me should know I'm obsessed with in like an embarrassing. I'm an embarrassing fan of Nathan Fielder. There's a very small grouping of people that I would say at this point in my life, it's embarrassing the degree to which I'm a fan of. And Nathan Fielder is right at the top of that list. I mean,
he's in the list of like whatever he drops, you're in there.
I'm there. I'm right there. And he's 3 for 3 so far. Nathan for You, just banger. There's no episode that you could put on of Nathan for You that I go, turn it off. I'll go to the next one. Every single one, not even any skit, all of it. Then the rehearsal. The rehearsal is where he starts getting into a more, I would say, divisive way of storytelling, where he's kind of allowing himself the freedom of what he's entitled to. Nathan for You is such a genius show that I think after he showed what he could do there, and he was also a writer on Sacha Baron Cohen's
the last
The America show. It was good.
This Is America.
That's what it was. This Is America. Yeah. With Sacha Baron Cohen was running around with no shirt on. But it was really good, and he was great on that. And I think that he was given some creative freedom, and he did the rehearsal. And the rehearsal, to me, if you watch Nathan for You is like this. It's a parody on those business help shows, if you haven't seen it, where he poses as a full-on reality show. I go and I help small businesses and I give them ideas of how they can do better. And the whole show seems fake because it's so absurd. But then you follow the trail of evidence and you see it's so much more real than you could have possibly imagined. Like when a moving company just needs help, and his idea of helping the moving company is, well, what if we didn't have to pay movers anymore? And they said, well, yeah, that'd be great. It would completely lower overhead. And he said, okay, well, here's how we're going to do that. We're going to convince the whole area that there's a new workout trend called the movement, which involves no going to the gym, no traditional calisthenics. It's just going to people's houses, boxing their things up, and carrying them to a truck. And in order to convince everybody of this, and it goes more and more elaborate, in order to convince everybody of this, I'm going to find this guy on Craigslist to write a book about a guy that doesn't exist. And he's going to write the book over the course of about 3 days. And it's going to be in like just whatever you want to write, you know, that he was living with jungle children. Okay. All right, that's fine. If that's what you wrote, then that's what's in the book.
Then we're going to get him to promote it.
No. We're going to get one guy to write the book. We're going to get a different guy. It's not the guy who wrote the book.
Right.
We're going to get a different guy to memorize the details of the book, a guy who's in good shape from going to the gym.
Yeah.
We're going to get him to go on the local news and promote the book. And then in an effort to make sure that nobody is onto us, that guy needs to stop going to the gym. But since he loves going to the gym so much and we need to keep him in shape, we're going to build a gym in a storage unit. And we're going to hire a private investigator to make sure that this guy no longer goes to the gym, only goes to the storage unit gym. And and then that's how we'll convince people to work for the moving company for free.
I feel like every single episode and skit is like, how do we get from A to B? But it could just be a straight line, but instead of just a straight line, it's just let's really get to B. Let's
up and around. Yeah. And you go, and so then it becomes this thing where not only is it a parody of a reality show, but it's also making fun of the fact that on these reality shows, you can pitch whatever ridiculous idea that you have to these people, and they'll just agree with it because there's a reality show camera pointed in their face. They'll go, yeah, I mean,
the willingness to go along with it.
Right. And every time they go like this, I mean, I guess we could try. Like that. I guess we could try that. And then when you're asking people to go on the local news and lie about it, and they're willing to say yes because there's a camera in front of their face, and why would you guide them to do something so humiliating? And then it goes a step further where you're like, as long as you get a book published, and you could just publish it yourself, if you send that book out to like local news departments, local radio stations, they will put them on TV and read whatever the press release says, whether it's true or not. So it just
there'll be a producer there who's trying to cram some time. He's trying to fill the void and just throw that person on there.
And nobody will check it.
No.
And so it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. The further you want to get in on this thing, the further you want to go down the well, the further you can realize like how much is really being exposed. But you go like this. Well, it's fake. Like that's how he's doing it, right? Because nobody is this. And then you start going on YouTube. And you go to the YouTube channel of the local news channel. And the interview's there. And the interview wasn't just posted with the episode. The interview was posted months ago when it actually happened live.
Yeah.
And then you go to Amazon and you see that there's been a listing for that book for months. Like the book is up there. And you're like, what? You're like, what the hell is going on? And you realize it's much more real. Like the absurdity is more real than the fakeness is. Does that make any sense?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't ever watched any of his work, I think you can just watch one episode of Nathan For You and you kind of get the gist overall. Because from there, the rehearsal and then this new show, The Curse, is just adding, The Curse is fictional, but like it's just adding more
layers,
craziness to it. But it's basically kind of
because so if you look at the finale, I don't know if you've ever seen the finale of Nathan For You, but in the finale of Nathan For You, like earlier on, like seasons before. They did like 4 seasons of Nathan For You. And in one of the episodes in season 2 or 3, I don't remember which one, they hire a Bill Gates impersonator. And it's just a terrible Bill Gates impersonator, but they hire this Bill Gates impersonator. And for some reason, Nathan gets obsessed with him. And so the finale of Nathan For You is a 2-hour-long, basically, movie where they follow this Bill Gates impersonator as he tries to track down the woman that he says is the love of his life from when he was in like high school. There's no business. There's no structure to the show. It is a complete departure. And then in the end, the woman barely remembers the guy, and the guy comes off like a weird creep. And you're like, what was the point of any of this? What are we doing? Right? And so then he's like, well, Nathan For You was a big hit, but what I really liked was that finale. So I feel like if you watch that finale, you're like, okay, that is where we start moving into the rehearsal, like to that whole vibe where you're like the show, because when you watch the rehearsal, that was on HBO, and the idea of the rehearsal is that now Nathan is helping people that have a difficult situation that they've got to confront, and so Nathan creates an exact double of their life, hires actors to play them, and completely rehearses the interaction word for word.
Sets.
Extremely expensive. Like they build if they're going to do it in a bar, they build a full double of the bar. I mean, it's like the budget on this thing is insane. And they go like line by line, move by move, rehearse it so it's absolutely memorized. And then you see if it plays out the way the rehearsal plays out. But by like the 3rd episode, that format has completely gone away, and Nathan is living with this strange woman pretending to be married to her with a child. Like, it's so insane. And as you're watching, you're just drifting further and further down this rabbit hole. And Nathan goes, okay, well, that's going to lead us to our first major scripted show called The Curse. And The Curse was created by Nathan Fielder and Benny Safdie, which, if you know anything about the Safdie brothers, and I think more people now do than ever because of Uncut Gems, they do for tension what Nathan does for cringe. You know, just by with their camera movements, their positioning of the camera, even the way they use footage. Like if you look at Uncut Gems, for example, the video quality is there's something just off about it, right? It's not quite what you're used to. It's not quite crisp. And you find that again in The Curse. And it's just all these things that are immediately like unsettling. They're kind of,
I did kind of notice that in the beginning when I started watching The Curse. I thought my TV was a little bit
right.
I thought that something was wrong with my TV
because apparently they shot it in HD, and Showtime was like, you have to shoot it in like full 4K. And they're like, he's like, no, we're going to shoot it in HD and then upgrade it from there. and so again, these are battles that they won. But also like the positioning of the cameras, even though this is a scripted show, the cameras are put in very voyeuristic positions. So it feels like you're watching a conversation that you're not supposed to be a part of. The music that they use is sort of very long and brooding, and it makes conversations that would have otherwise been mundane seem like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's going to be good. This doesn't seem like it's going to be good. And add to the same way, by the way, you know, like Uncut Gems, as you're watching that movie, it's a roller coaster, but you're just going up the whole time. And you're realizing like, I shouldn't be on this roller coaster. I shouldn't be on this roller coaster. That's the whole thing. So if you combine that feeling with, oh God, this is so uncomfortable and awkward that Nathan brings, somehow they successfully merged those two feelings and created this scripted show where Nathan Fielder is not only one of the creators, as is Benny Safdie, but they're both also actors in the show, along with Emma Stone. So Emma Stone plays Whitney, Nathan plays Asher, and Benny Safdie plays Dougie. And So who's
I
your?
hated Dougie.
Was it the rings?
It was the rings.
Was it like the bracelets and the?
It's too much.
Everything about him is just like, ugh.
He's curvy.
Okay, I'll blow into the breathalyzer if you want.
The one time that I had an accident, I happened to be above the limit. What are the odds?
Yeah, but that's the other thing too. They set up, like episode 2 or episode 3 or whatever, they set up that he was involved in an accident that I guess killed his wife.
Right.
And so the whole show, you're waiting for this payoff. You're waiting for it to happen again. And we're going to start with the spoilers right now. It doesn't happen. It just sits there with you. It just sits. Like you just sit with it the whole time. So that by the point that you're at the end, it's still just sitting on top of you. Which is
never has a moment of accountability or anything.
Arguably the very end. Maybe the very end of the show where he's finally breaking down. But we'll get there.
Right.
Yeah. We'll get there. So the idea of the show is that Asher and Whitney have moved to Española, New Mexico, and they have a bunch of property there, and they've built fully sustainable houses that are like fully mirrored and everything and are designed to not need AC, to just need so that they won't affect the environment around them whatsoever.
This was ridiculous concept for a house.
Of course, it's a complete, but could you not see this being a reality show?
I could.
They're sitting there going like, well, it takes about 2 hours or whatever they said.
They said 7. There's a scene where one of the buyers are trying to sell his house, and one of the buyers is like, it's kind of hot in here, no? It was like, yeah, but it's going to decompressurize and all that stuff. And how long does it take? 7 hours.
Right. Whenever you go whenever you open the door or open a window, it takes about 7 hours for the house to recalibrate. But then it's perfect. Then after that, it's no problem at all. And so, but their idea is that they've got their friend Dougie, who Asher has known for a very long time. And Dougie is a reality television show producer. You know, he makes these reality shows. He sells them to networks. He sold one to HGTV, and he said, that we got something here.
Love on the Third Degree or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. It was every bad reality dating show that you've ever seen. And so their sort of nefarious thing that they never take accountability for. Even in private moments, Asher and Whitney still won't act as though they're doing anything wrong. What they're trying to do is create this reality show so that living in Española becomes this trend because it's part of a reality show. So that all their property that they've invested in this town that's full of like criminals shoots through the roof. So they get rich. That's their whole thing, but they won't ever use those words because, especially Whitney, they're trying to convince themselves that they're good people. And when they get rich, because they're the saviors, they're the saviors. And when they get rich, what they're going to do is bring everybody who's already in the town. They're going to lift them all up and it'll all be good, and the town has, and it's mainly like Native American characters and other minority characters who Asher and Whitney are going to be there to really, lift up and be the saviors for, because that's what they need.
There's one scene that explains like how out of touch they are, where they're being interviewed by the reporter early on. It might be like episode 1 or 2, and the reporter's kind of grilling them on it, like, aren't you guys like displacing people or like whatever, like coming in? And then Asher's just like, no, nobody loses in this situation. Everyone wins.
Everyone wins. But it's that like hostile, like, I'm annoyed that you would even bring up a question. I'm actually really glad that you brought that up. There are no losers. Everyone wins. There's one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the show is, I think, in the first or second episode, when Asher can't get the ATM to work, and the guy who looks like a criminal is going, "Let me get your PIN." And Asher's like, I don't know if I should do that. What do you think, I'm going to steal from you? And again, you're waiting for a payoff. You're waiting for him to take all his money. You're waiting. Nothing. Right. He just helps him with the ATM. But that one moment is such like anybody who went to public school knows exactly what that moment was. And then we
He
all
had good reason, to be fair.
100%. 100%. So the hook of the show comes in where Dougie is shooting. And Dougie from the very beginning feels nefarious, but for different reasons. Like while Asher and Whitney seem like they're lying to themselves and to everybody around them, Dougie feels like he's consciously misleading Asher and Whitney so that he can produce a reality show around them, even if it destroys them. He doesn't care because that's
right.
He
wants the show that he wants.
Yeah, that networks will buy. He doesn't care what it does to any human being. So he, is constantly filming them in inopportune moments, even though he's telling them that he's not filming them. So at one point he tells Asher, and by the way, this is key for me. I decided to watch. I watched episode 1 and 2 when they first aired. And then real quickly, I was like, you know what? I got to push pause on this whole operation and watch the whole season all at once. Like, I can't. It's such a strange show that I cannot wait a week between episodes because I'll go, wait. What's happening? Huh?
You forget.
Yeah. Bro, there's this scene when Asher is having dinner at his wife Whitney's house. Asher is the Nathan Fielder character. And her dad starts talking to him. His father-in-law starts talking to him. And he's talking about how he grows tomatoes, but he pisses on them.
Yeah.
Then he goes, I know what it's like. We both know what it's like. And Asher's like, well, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, the thing about tomatoes is whether it's a big beefsteak tomato or a cherry tomato, it's still delicious. And Asher's like, wait a minute, what? And his father-in-law sits there and has this conversation about how he should just take ownership of the fact that he has an incredibly small penis. And that the day that he just announced to his friends that he had a small penis and let them all just have fun with it, he became a titan. He said that's where he got his real big dick energy from just being the guy with a small penis. And Nathan's character is sitting there wanting to be anywhere else. Like, this is so uncomfortable. And then his father-in-law goes, the thing about a cherry tomato or a giant tomato is once it's between the bread, it all tastes the same. You're like, oh.
And we're given a few shots of the micro penises from both of them.
Both of them. And he says, we're the cherry tomato boys. And it's like the most. And then when I'm like, that's the most uncomfortable scene I've ever seen on television, Asher goes home and is intimate with his wife using an inanimate object of pleasure named after somebody else and takes the position of a cuckold as their.
They named her dildo Charles. and he's asking for permission. It's like, Charles, can I get in on that next?
And then when Whitney says, Charles says it's your turn, he says, no, I want to see Charles do. And it's so, you're like, what the hell? I think that was the point where I was like, I need to watch this all in one sitting. I need to see where all this goes. The hook, that's not the hook of the show. The hook of the show is that Asher gives a girl who's in the parking lot selling sodas $100 because all he's got is $100 bill for a soda. And then when he thinks the cameras stop rolling, the reality show cameras, he takes the $100 back from the girl because he's like, I can't give you $100. That's ridiculous. And so she curses him. And, the music plays. He's all freaked out by it. Now, eventually, he has another conversation with the girl. She goes, I was just doing a TikTok trend. It's nothing. But he ends up obsessed with it. And anything bad that happens to them, he kind of blames on this curse. That's where the title of the show comes from, the curse.
I think for a little bit, as the audience, you're supposed to wonder if it's actually real or not.
But then by halfway through the season, you're like, this is not real. It's just it's just a girl who said that. I mean, none of this is real. And the reason bad things keep happening to them is they're bad people. Like that scene where Emma Stone goes to an art party by herself, but has a camera along with her and is not, I mean, she's not even a human being at that point.
He's like, don't mind this. He's just getting B-roll.
Yeah. Or to me, like one of the most like telling scenes of the whole thing, and it's so based in reality, was when they're in the bedroom and they like they finally have one moment, Asher and Whitney, they finally have one moment where there might be some chemistry between the two of them. And Whitney goes, I wish the networks could see this. Like she's still thinking about the TV show.
Shirt, right?
The whole series, they have no chemistry at all. None. The one moment that they actually have the slightest amount of chemistry, she tries to make him reenact so they can put it on the Instagram stories because she thinks the network is going to be watching their Instagram.
It's like this is what they should be watching right now when it's not what your life is.
No, but you know how many influencers and Instagram personalities literally live their lives that way. You know that happens all the time. And it's so sad. And it's interesting from a television perspective because most people will when they cast themselves on a show, right? Emma Stone is like this beautiful actress that everybody loves Emma Stone. You know anybody that doesn't love Emma Stone?
No.
Right. So most of the time, these actors, they put themselves with somebody like Emma Stone and they create a show or a narrative, a film where there's amazing chemistry between the characters. Remember, what was that Lady Gaga movie with Bradley Cooper? Star is Born. Right. Remember on A Star is Born, when the chemistry was so airtight that you saw them at an award show together and you were like, they're having sex. They're for sure.
They're in love of each other.
Nathan Fielder is the only person that does the complete opposite. I'm going to cast myself opposite of Emma Stone, and I'm going to put my character in the most emasculated, humiliating positions and create a dynamic where there is absolutely no sexual chemistry whatsoever.
Full on cuckoldry. Full
on. And not, by the way, that the woman even is into. Like, it's just clearly for him. And
I think one of the cringiest scenes is when he's like talking to himself in the bathroom, and you think it's just because he's trying to pump himself up, but he's just jerking off, thinking about someone fucking his wife. I mean, he hears it.
There's something that Nathan Fielder enjoys, I think, about being insulted in real life. Because some of these scenes, like they're filming this reality show, and the further you get, the more concocted it is, the more this producer, Dougie, is clearly leading them in conversations. At one point, like, there's a weird flirtation that he's doing where you think he's trying to have sex with his friend's wife, which, again, never goes anywhere.
Right.
It's just
so many things that are just hung there.
It's just tension. It's just tension. It's brilliant. It's just brilliant tension. And then there's this whole other part of the series, like episodes long, where he's like actively trying to completely destroy their relationship because they've found that focus groups don't like Asher and want him to be humiliated and ridiculed. So they do this scene where they have a focus group, and you just watch this character Asher sitting there as the entire focus group is talking about how much they like everything on the show except Asher. They don't like him. He's off-putting and he's not funny. He thinks he's funny and he's not funny. It's every insult that would truly like hurt you to the core. And he's just sitting there going like, what? Huh? What do you mean? I'm funny. I'm funny. So while she is like taking the advice from this producer, Dougie, to destroy her relationship and go like, why don't you flirt with this other dude in front of Asher? Why don't you like, if he says something stupid, why don't you like roll your eyes or be like, what's your problem? And then like talk to the confessional.
Or telling like, if they're like if they're like with firefighters, he tells the firefighters, hey, why don't you take your shirt off? and like maybe flirt a little bit with Emma.
I mean, it's nuts. And then like after 3 episodes of this, the network tells Dougie, well, yeah, I mean, people don't like him, but people love them as a couple, so they need them to stay together. And all of a sudden, after doing all this damage, Dougie's just like, oh yeah, no. You guys got to be a couple. Like you got to interact with each other now. You got to, and it's like, what? Like there's the whole concept of reality has been destroyed. I mean, everyone's greatest fear is public speaking. It's the most common fear. The scene where you watch Nathan Fielder's character in a comedy class, and they have to go around the room making the rest of the class laugh. And he's the only one who can't do it. And it's not even like they're ridiculing him. It's just it's just silence and they move on. It's so upsetting.
There's also a screenshot when he's trying to be funny. He's taking all these classes of his phone where you can see like on his notes app, he has like things to say or do to be funny during the show. And the first one I have it up here is like, be self-deprecating like James Corden. I love that.
So you're like sitting there like, where is this show going? Right? And you're waiting for a big climax. At the end of it, just as their relationship is falling apart and you think it's going to be over, they come to this amazing crescendo where Nathan's character realizes that his only purpose is to serve Whitney. That's it. He is only on this planet to be by her side, and no matter what, he will always be there for her, and that's the only reason he's there.
It almost sounded threatening.
Yes, I'm never leaving. Never. Right. Until you don't need me anymore. That's the only time I'll be gone.
Yeah.
Which I think is crucial. That's episode 9. So we get to episode 10. And episode 10 is like several months later. And again, like it's like, where's this going? This might be the most brilliant part of the show. The show gets picked up, but on the app. Like it's like it's not even the crashing down of the show didn't go, or the amazing rise of, yep, the show is in prime time. HGTV picks up the show, except only for the HGTV app. So
HGTV Plus.
Yeah. So it's like it got picked up, but nobody really can see it. And so it's okay. Like again,
they got another season. I mean, all right.
Yeah. But all of it is for nothing. It's based on nothing. It's for nothing. Nothing comes out of it. But all of this energy is put into it. And just as you're like, okay, where is this going? At the end of the show, and this finale has sat with me. I mean, this is sitting with me like the Sopranos finale sat with me. Like this, as far as finales go, it might be my favorite finale of any show I've ever watched. Like everybody, the reason I'm doing this is because you can't watch that show without going on YouTube after the finale and just hearing what other people think. Like there's never going to be an answer. There's no answer.
Good to know you did it too.
100%.
You get at me.
And I criticize you, but 100%. This is like, you want to talk about it, right? And Travis hasn't seen it yet, so I can't text him. So what am I going to do? What is this? If it were 1995 Hot Dog, I would call you and go like, let's talk. But it's not 1995 anymore. The whole world is open to us. I want to hear what complete strangers.
I want to hear what Logan Paul thinks.
Right. I don't know. This might be over his head. But they wake up after all of this, and Nathan Fielder's character, Asher, is stuck to the ceiling of this house that they're in. And at first, you think like this is some kind of wacky premise where because the house needs to be sealed for 7 hours, right? That's what you thought too, right? Hot Dog, where like the oxygen is off or something like that. And there's this little part of this weird house where gravity doesn't work or whatever it is. You know, you're like, oh, this is so funny. This house sucks so much that he's going to fall from the ceiling. And then you realize that's not it.
Because the bit goes on. I think it's just like a funny, like you said, decompression kind of thing bit. And then it just goes on for a little bit too long.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's 20 minutes of this and then 30 minutes of this.
And you start to feel the panic, right? You start to feel this panic in your chest. Like, what would you do if you woke up one morning and the sky was pulling you up? You were just stuck to the ceiling. The way gravity has us stuck to the floor, you were stuck to the ceiling. What would you do? And you start to panic as you're watching, going, I don't know what I would do. I would freak out, man.
Maybe try to leave the house.
Well, so at this point, Whitney's pregnant. They've finally gotten pregnant. They tried, they failed, they tried again, they got it. So she's pregnant, and she goes into labor at the same time that he gets stuck to the ceiling. So he's trying to figure out how to get her to the hospital, except he's stuck to the ceiling. So they start doing all of this stuff to try to pull him down. And to me, the most important shot of this kind of climax to the show is that at one point, Emma Stone's character, while pregnant, tries to pull him down. So he's upside down. So he's hanging upside down with his hands down, and she's reaching up. And at one point, they're both in midair because he's pulling up and she's pulling back down. And they're
just floating.
Right, but they're in midair with her legs kind of splayed out, and she's holding him like this. And he's head down, holding her from below, and then they get separated. And I go, that's it. So, but that to me was everything. Like that one shot, because on one level, as they get separated, that's the end. Like for one moment, they're together, and then they get split apart, and you realize, like, we're done. That it's over. Also, if you watch it back, remember, she's going into labor.
Mm-hmm.
When he's head down and she's up with her legs splayed out, he's literally in the position that a baby would be in inside of Emma Stone. Like he's in the exact same position that this offspring would be.
Yeah.
So she gets out of the house, and he's like kind of on the ceiling, kind of moving himself, and starts to get towards the door. And they have this like foyer or whatever they call it, a little balcony type thing above. And even when he's out of the door with this little roof, he's still floating up. And so they're like, well, we just got to get you out of the house because there's something wrong with the house. And the fucking wildest, this is the wildest part of the finale, is when he gets out of the house and he just gets sucked up. And you're like, what are we watching? And he ends up grabbing a tree branch and wrapping himself around a tree branch, because you realize this has nothing to do with the house. He's legit defying the laws of gravity and being sucked up instead of pulled down.
And nothing in this entire show even remotely hinted that this would be possible.
No, not only was there no supernatural stuff in the show, but the curse is made out to be nonsense.
A TikTok trend.
Yes, a TikTok trend. It's like only a fool would believe the curse was real. And so you're like, and so much of that other stuff was inconsequential. And now we're here, and he's on this tree branch at the risk of getting pulled up. And you're like, oh my God, right? And so she ends up getting to the hospital because she's like, I got to go. And he's like, don't worry, I'll meet you there. And you're like, I don't know how he plans on doing that. She goes to the hospital on her own. Dougie shows up. What does Dougie start doing immediately?
I need a recorder. Can you get a drone?
He starts filming him. He starts filming him potentially for the show. And that's when like people in the neighborhood start going by going, what's he doing up there? Something for the TV, something for the show. Like there's no empathy for him. Nobody cares. He's like, he's sitting up there and he's panicking. And then they show his wife. His wife is going to the hospital. She's in the hospital now. They go, we're going to need to do an emergency C-section. She's like, okay, go for it, right? While she's in labor and about to have this C-section, he's on this branch. And he's like, you need to get a net. He's talking to the fire department. The fire department shows up. They go up the ladder to get him, right? He goes, you don't understand. You need to get a net. You need to tie it to the truck. Then I can get off this. But you have to tie the net to the truck. They go, okay.
I will fly up.
You have to do this. They go, okay. And they just kind of drape a net over him, clearly to pacify him. You know what I mean? Because they think he's just Yeah. They think he's some maniac. So they inflate this mattress under the tree. And that's when you, as the viewer, realize, oh no, their plan is for him to fall. And he's not going to fall. But
even when I saw that, I was like, there's no way he's just going to fly up into the air. Like there has to be something else.
Right.
Yeah,
right. They cut the branch and he's going, what are you doing? Stop. No. And you're like, okay. And stop. Don't do it. They finish cutting the branch. You just hear a thud. The branch hits the mattress that's been laid out for him. And you watch Nathan Fielder float up into the sky at a rapid pace. And everybody's like, the hell happened? And they're
launched. Not even like levitate up.
Launched. Like you're falling. You know what I mean? The same way, like if you jump from a high place, you'd go down very fast. He's going up at that same rate. Dougie starts having a breakdown. Where I think Dougie finally has a moment of humanity. He's having a breakdown. He's crying. He can't believe this has happened. The fire department and everybody in the neighborhood is like, I don't know. I guess it must have been a TV thing.
Right. Yeah. How do they get that to work?
Huh? That was wild.
Special effects.
Yeah. Not taking it seriously at all. And then Emma Stone, at the same time that he propels up, and he's in space in the fetal position and clearly
freezing to death.
Yeah, clearly freezing to death. Emma Stone gives birth to a healthy child. And we see Nathan in space in the fetal position. And Emma finally has this look of humanity in her face. Finally has this sort of like relief, almost like she finally has purpose, is this look on her face as the child is born and we go to black and it's left to our own interpretation.
What does it mean?
And I'm sitting there going like, I didn't see that coming at all. And my wife like was in and out of watching the show. So like she had gone to bed like a few episodes before. She missed episode 8, episode 9. She comes downstairs and she's like, what's going on? I go, he's on his tree. They're about to cut the branch. He's going to float up. She's like, what do you mean? I go, he's floating.
She's like, did I miss something?
No.
In the last 2 episodes?
No, he's floating now. He's floating up. I found this show to be so freaking brilliant. I loved it. I loved the ending. To me, I felt like it was symbolic of two things. Number one, I think the reincarnation aspect of it was pretty obvious, right? In the sense that from that, even from that position of the baby, you know, when they were floating in the sky, and the fact that just as he leaves, the baby is now there. I also think that Nathan's character was ultimately inconsequential to the world around him. He's only existed for the purpose of Emma Stone's character, Whitney. And so once Whitney has this child, he is no longer needed. And I think that maybe there was this curse going on with all the Native American stuff. And when he said, when you don't need me anymore, I will no longer be here. That's when the world went, gotcha.
Say less.
Gotcha. Loop.
My initial thought was that Dougie placed a curse on him because Dougie did curse him a couple episodes prior, and then he's breaking down crying at the end of the that episode when Asher goes flying up. So Dougie's so full of himself, he might think that he cursed him by mistake. Right. Even though he didn't. This isn't like he didn't do that, but he would think that he did. Yes. So he's going to take responsibility for, and now since he didn't take enough responsibility for his wife, now he's got this
on him too. Except we all know Dougie. What's Dougie going to do? 6 months from now, he's just going to tell some girl at the bar this story to try to get sympathy from her.
Yeah, try to get laid.
Yeah, exactly.
And that one comment, I don't know if it's much of a theory, but one comment after I was reading online was that the girl's curse was to make the chicken disappear, and then Asher disappeared at the end of the show.
He was the chicken.
Yes.
And that's what would explain all the cuckoldry and just the everything, that he was ultimately he was the chicken who disappeared. Yeah.
I want to think that the curse was real, even though they were like, it was just a TikTok trend.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there was something going on. I think there was something that when he said what he said in episode 9, it took into effect.
Mm.
You know what the strangest part of all this is? Benny Safdie has said that there are discussions on season 2.
How are you gonna do that?
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not 100% sure how that would work myself. Although, I mean, at this point, we could do interdimensional stuff. We could do like Nathan coming back to do something else with another girl, either playing an entirely different character or whatever. I mean, it could be one of those. What are those series is called? Like Black Mirror with
an anthology series.
Anthology, not anthology.
Well, I need Nathan to be in it.
It would have to be, if it's an anthology series, it would have to be an anthology series that Nathan is in every episode of.
Yes.
He can play different characters every season. Also, I would want Benny Safdie back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be. He has to be. He's too good. Man, it is a wild ride, dude. I loved it. People asked about what I thought of that show. And to put it succinctly, in only 45 minutes, I thought it was awesome.
I randomly, I thought one of my favorite recurring bits was the Native Americans mocking Emma Stone's character by trying to be philosophical and saying deep things.
I also loved that Emma tried to impress the actual Native Americans with her Native American artist friend. And the actual Native American thought the artist was so dumb. Like,
right.
Is that it?
She just,
okay. All right. Which again, by the way, but I also struggled with the fact that watching Emma Stone's character try to interpret art and then to try to interpret that here is like, well, now I'm just Whitney, like trying to interpret what the show is about. I feel like a fool.
Yeah, there's so many little moments in between that is like the show is a mind trip, but it's also like genuinely hilarious.
So where do you land on it, Hot Dog? I told you I loved it. Loved it.
I loved it, but I can't say that I could recommend it to I can't recommend it to my friends. I can't be like, oh, you need to watch, like I can't tell Annie you need to watch The Curse, because then she's gonna come back and be like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I recommended it to Norton, and he's only seen like the first 2 episodes, and he liked it because I knew he would like it, because I knew he would like it from the aspect of kind of the expose on what making these reality shows are actually like and making fun of that. I don't know if we'll still have him at the end.
I think you're gonna lose him.
I think we'll have him through episode 9.
Yeah, because the reality show aspect is still heavy.
Yeah, and the relationship stuff. And it's
but
funny.
I think once it gets to 60 minutes of Nathan Fielder floating in the air, you're gonna lose him.
Yeah. Okay. See, PK says it was very Magnolia-ish. And guess what? That's true. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Magnolia might be my favorite movie of all time. Like on my top 10 list, Magnolia might be number 1. And you know what happens at the end of Magnolia? It starts raining frogs.
No.
And it's like that after the whole trip that you go on with all these interconnected characters, it starts raining frogs.
Yeah, so you see, it's not something that you could just automatically recommend to people in general. It's gotta be your specific friend, like Travis. You gotta watch this.
Yeah, but people who are like, I didn't like that, or I didn't get it, or what, I do judge them.
And I'm also not saying only like smart people. It's not about being smart or anything like that. It's just taste wise. Like this is like a very.
I judge people that don't like it. I do. I do judge people. I judge people that don't
Try
like
not to judge people. I mean,
I do. I
it's
judge people. I definitely
Okay.
judge people. And if somebody goes like this, I watched The Curse. I thought it was dumb. Like I'll go like, oh yeah, I get where you would feel that way. But in my heart, I'm thinking I will never look at you the same way again. There's nothing you can do to fix this moment. I will forever think differently of you.
Okay. All right. So you this is a highly recommend for you.
Yeah. Highly recommend. And maybe you like it. Maybe you don't like it. But if you
I
don't,
loved it.
if you good you loved it. Because otherwise I would judge you. And you would say all kinds of stuff on this show. And then I go, anytime you said anything dumb, I'd go like this. Yeah, but you didn't like The Curse, right? You go, yeah. I'd go, okay. You know, got it. No problem. Before we get to Super Chats, let's get to our B story of the day.
The B plot.
This is related because I feel like this is right out of the world that Asher and Whitney were in. When I'm looking at it going, this isn't, why are we pretending this is real life? This isn't real life. But apparently everybody is telling me this is real life and it really is happening. And I will be watching live on Netflix Saturday, July 20th from AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It is happening. Stadium full of people. Live on Netflix. By the way, Jake Paul tweeted out, not even on pay-per-view, just a Netflix live event. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something right now about Netflix. I love Netflix. It is the best. So I'm happy that Netflix is the one that's gonna be putting this on.
Are you welcoming our Netflix overlords come January 2025?
Absolutely. Oh, January 2025. Netflix is gonna be somehow even better. Which is hard to believe. I mean, it's like Netflix and Peacock are just going so hard right now. Hard in the paint. Killing the game. But so Jake
Paul,
like
20 years ago, this would have been a freak show, Crash TV. All right, we'll kind of watch this, but like we're not like everyone's in on it. Like this is a disaster. Like celebrity, you know, but now it's like
this is just boxing. Now it's just boxing. This is just like, that's what boxing is.
Yeah. Now it's just, we're filling a whole stadium for this.
So, I mean, look, you wouldn't go?
I know. I'm not saying I'm not a part of it. I'm just saying.
I would go. I'd be there. I would be there. Even if the tickets were only okay, not even that great tickets. I'd go like, oh yeah, I'll go. I'll be there. You know, a lot of opinions are being said about it. Of course, Mike Tyson, we last saw him a couple years ago in that exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr., I believe, and he looked impressive. You know, he wasn't the old Mike, but he's not a time traveler either. He looked very impressive he probably was maybe 55 then or so.
57 now, right?
And it was like, yeah, you saw it. He's 57 now. He will be 58 by the time this fight happens in July. I think he's turning 58 in June. Jake's 27. So it'll be Mike Tyson at 58 versus Jake Paul at 27. Jake Paul's going up to heavyweight, I believe, for this. I don't think he's there regularly, but he's going up to heavyweight to do this. I have to imagine that this will end up being an exhibition fight. I can't, because I know that Jake has done professional fights as he's built up to it. Because this is Jake Paul's game. At first, he was only doing exhibition fights. He was doing like those Triller fights and everything. And then more recently, he started to take fights that are slightly less profile, but are professional fights with professional full-time boxers. And he's winning to prove that he can beat them. And I think that that's all been on a path to finally get here. Now, why does Jake Paul, I've noticed the kids do this. Like, this is a very, very in vogue pose right now. What is the shush sign where the shush finger goes all the way up to the nose? Why do we do it? And especially, why would we do it on a promotional graphic where the last thing that you want is people to be quiet about this? This is not a secret.
Yeah, it's a Netflix secret that's been put on a poster that's going to be all over the world.
I mean, people can't stop talking about it. And A lot of people, it's like blocking your face in photos is very in style right now.
It's cool.
Is it?
I wish I knew what it was. I kind of aged out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like this is a cool one. Like that's a cool.
What would your fight pose be? That's your fight pose? That's
No,
your poster?
this would be my fight pose. And I'd have a
Your
mic
fight-
here too, and I'd have paper up. Is this
I guess
cool?
if
Is
you
this
fighted
good
Mike
for?
Tyson.
Yeah, paper up. I probably put my notebook over here.
Okay.
Duck down like this.
I
Yeah,
don't know how we could sell that.
is this cool? But is it cool? The kids will think this is cool, right?
No one knows who's behind.
Oh man, he really doesn't want to be on camera. Like, I don't understand. In a world that is so overrun with people who are trying to get on camera every waking moment, how could it be cool to pretend that you don't want to be on camera in these photos?
But once you do it, you kind of get it. You feel good doing it. It's kind of cool. What are we shushing about? Okay, I'll shush.
You think Mike Tyson saw that photo and he was like, why is he
Like,
making
this
this?
is just-
Why is he? Is this? Were we not supposed to say anything? Why is he doing that? I thought we were supposed to look like tough.
He's asking who kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Who kid? Like what? Because I mean, I'm trying to look like tough, like I'm gonna beat somebody up, and he's like, "Don't tell anyone. There's a fight coming."
I already told everyone.
That's a very good impression, Hot Dog. Very, very well done. Excellent. So, look, there are a surprising amount of people are going, Jake Paul's going to get killed. And I don't really see that as quite the layup that a lot of people do. I think that, number one, Jake Paul's been boxing for a while. He's not, by any stretch of the imagination, this like all-time great boxer, but he's not a bad boxer either. And he's 27 years old. Mike Tyson's 58. There's a huge difference there.
He's been doing it consistently.
Yes, I get worried when I see this because the last thing that I want to see is Mike Tyson lose to anybody, let alone Jake Paul. I think that there's a better than not chance that Jake Paul will probably win this fight. Just because of the age difference, because of the shape that this kid is in, just that, he's going to come prepared for it. Here's the only thing that I'm hoping for, Hot Dog. Clearly, when you look at this, there's at least an awareness of what it is. When Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather had their fight, is it fixed? No. They're not getting together and going, okay, in the 8th round, you do this. In the 6th round, you do that. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But there is this collective awareness of what it is that we're doing here. If Floyd Mayweather wanted to end Logan Paul in 1 round, he could have ended Logan Paul in 1 round. There's an awareness to it, right?
Yes.
What I'm hoping for here is that same awareness is there. Except he's Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson sometimes comes alive. For example, I don't know if you guys know this. One time at the height of Mike Tyson's professional career, he was in a boxing fight with this boxer whose name is Evander Holyfield. And things got really testy between the two of them mid-fight. And Mike Tyson lost his temper and he bit Evander Holyfield's ear off of his head. I don't know if you heard about this, but he...
New to me.
Yes, he bit the ear off of his head. He once threatened to journalists that he would you-know-what them until they loved him. And it really sounded convincing. He also let them know that he was indeed on some medications, but the only reason he was on those medications was to keep him from killing y'all. And I believe that. Like that classic Canadian news clip where he starts cursing out that newscaster and going, and you realize, oh, the old Mike is in there.
That's what people like about Mike. It seems like whatever he says, he means.
Right. Right. Yes. What I hope for is that the old Mike is buried very, very deep. And this is what Logan Paul is counting on. But you know how every now and then there's a clover field that lives at the bottom of the Hudson River and he's been dormant for centuries. Except just the one little thing happens. And whoops-a-daisy, tectonic plate shift, whatever happens, and it awakens the Cloverfield, and he ends up destroying Manhattan and hunting down a group of teens. That happens sometimes, right?
It could be a situation where maybe Jake Paul throws something that's a little bit stiff for Mike's liking, and Mike is just like, "What are we doing?" Okay,
The Cloverfield awakens.
yes,
That's what you have to hope for. You ever been in a slap fight with your friend and you guys are laughing, and then he swings too hard, and all of a sudden you were just laughing, but that rage thing clicks in inappropriately, and you start swinging, or what are you doing, man? You're like, whoa, whoa, we were literally just playing around. That, except Mike Tyson, because I feel like if that were to happen, I don't care if Mike Tyson is 108. If that happens, you're done. And as somebody who's a fan of Mike Tyson, I would like to see that happen. I would like to see. I don't know if it will, but I would love to see Mike Tyson with the "I slapped you too hard in an agreed upon slap fight" energy, and have the Cloverfield awaken and just destroy whatever was in his path.
Unfortunately, it will, like you said, most likely be like a NBA All-Star game.
Yes.
Where
Perfect
no one's
analogy.
playing. Yes, no one's playing defense. No one's trying to get hurt.
No.
But there's the wish. Maybe during the promotion of this, maybe Jake Paul goes a little bit too far.
Oh, can you imagine if it happens during the promotion and you realize like a week before the fight? Oh no. And Jake Paul's like, what's he talking about?
I was just trying to sell the fight.
like Mike Tyson fires everyone around him, and you're like, oh
like,
no.
I'm gonna murder your children.
Yeah.
What?
Who Kid just is calling me going, Sam, I can't be around the guy anymore. He's getting very, very dangerous. Yeah.
More than Mike Tyson awakening, like you said, in the middle of the fight and getting the old Mike in the ring, I would prefer to have the old Mike Tyson promos come back.
See, I get that, and I'm with you. I don't think that that's even remotely possible. Yeah. I think that there has to be a physical provocation. There's got to be a rattling to awaken the Cloverfield. Like there has to be something physical that goes like, oh, there it was. Like you hit the wrong switch. It's just,
I don't know. Those Paul brothers tend to get on the people's skin.
Do they though?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, look.
That's the build, right? I guess.
Do they? I mean, the build with Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather versus the build with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Conor McGregor asking Floyd Mayweather to read out of a child's book. That is getting under somebody's skin, okay? And I don't think we're going to get that because the Paul brothers are smart. Jake Paul is a smart kid. Logan Paul is clearly a very intelligent human being. I don't think that they're going to try to awaken this beast. However, once you are locked in physical combat, there is always the chance that that beast could be awakened. And that's what I'm praying to God for. That's what I'm really hoping for.
I prayed for this. It happened.
Yeah. I want you to know I'm not normally a spiritual man, but I prayed for this to happen and it did. Yeah. No, so I'm with it. I'll be watching. I love stuff like this. I'm hoping for the best for us.
Or the worst.
For us. The worst for others. Yes. If you're watching along, once again, we're not going to go an hour. If you're watching along, super chat in. Every super chat will get acknowledged here on Sam Roberts Now. Don't forget, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Notsam Wrestling comes live to the Helium Comedy Club Wednesday, April 3rd. That's WrestleMania week. We're kicking it off at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Be there or be squared. You can go to notsam.com for tickets to that. And don't forget, new episode of Satisfying Podcast went up yesterday. You can go to @SatisfyingPod on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. Myself, Nicole Ryan, Nicole Biggins, breaking it all down. And the Not Sam Wrestling Podcast if you're into wrestling. Let's go to Six Crow. I curse you with a super chat. Wouldn't it be funny if for $28 Canadian, I ended up floating into the sky? That'd be a real bummer. Not Sam Lehman. If you ask me, Logan Paul is doing way cooler stuff than Jake Paul. I would say so. I mean, look.
WrestleMania
is dope as hell. We don't know who his opponent will be. But the fact that it could be Randy Orton, I mean, I don't know if I'd rather fight Mike Tyson or Randy Orton. Either way, I'm screwed. Bo knows zombies. This was a very self-indulgent episode, Sam. I want you to know something, and I'm going to make this very clear. I did not name this show Sam Roberts Now to not be self-indulgent. Okay? This is my playground. This is where I come to get what's on my chest off of it. And if I'm sitting there with these feelings about this show, you best believe. I mean, look, people's tastes are going to be people's tastes. If I want to break down all 4 John Wick movies and just tell that story over the course of 2 hours, here. If I want to explain to Hot Dog why there are 5 different Halloween timelines and do it multiple times across every year, just go, and sometimes just randomly go like, by the way, did you know? And you're like, yes, Sam, I did know that.
March, it's not even Halloween.
I'm going to do that here. And if
I believe the philosophy for this show is one for me, another one for me, and then another one for me.
And if there's any left after that, those are mine.
Yes.
This is me. I don't know if you realize that. This beard, that's me right there. They're all self-indulgent. And by the way, the show's only going to get more self-indulgent. Okay? It will never get less self-indulgent. So, see, we don't have the pesky responsibility of being a successful show, a show that has tons and tons of viewers. It's like, what am I like worried about? Like, oh, if you're this self-indulgent, you're only gonna get like 3,000 people a week watching your show. Yep. I appreciate you. I understand that not everybody's gonna like every show, but thank you, buddy. James Malaspino, my 9-year-old son Ty tried hijacking my phone and sending you a super chat. So here's this moment for a shout out. Appreciate that kid. That's a good kid. B Herb, F Mary Kill for Hot Dog. This is gonna be tough for you, Hot Dog. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, or Mike Tyson.
I think this is an easy one for Mary is Mike Tyson.
Why?
Because if I'm fucking Mike Tyson, I don't think I'm fucking Mike Tyson. Okay. You know? So if I try to kill, I mean, yeah, I'm not killing Mike Tyson. That's just not going to work out for me.
You mean because you'll try to kill Mike Tyson and you'll end up dead?
Yes.
I gotcha.
So we're marrying Mike Tyson. And just, you know, I have a bias between the Paul brothers. I'll go F Logan and kill Jake.
I think that's fair. That's all. That all checks out for me.
Yeah.
Monkey U. My only hope is Killer Mike mode gets unlocked. Okay, we're saying the same thing. Iron Mike forgets that it's just a work and not real, then absolutely wrecks Jake. And I think that there's a bigger possibility of that happening than people are given credit to. I think that like you can't predict that. Like there's no prediction for that. By the way, somebody's over there saying that Mike Tyson didn't eat the whole ear, just a piece of the ear. It was the entire it was the entire ear. The whole and he ate it and swallowed it.
We're gonna need Hogan to just remind Tyson not to work himself into a shoot.
Yeah, but when Hogan said that, he was talking to the jabroni Marks, not to Mike Tyson. By the way, The Rock doesn't The Rock like own the word jabroni now?
Was that part of the TKO?
Bro, have you seen the list of copyrights that he owns?
I thought it was just The Rock.
Bro, he owns Candy Ass, he owns Rudy Poo, he owns The Rock, he owns everything. So if you see him peppering in old school Rock catchphrases, understand he is standing on business.
We're going to be seeing shirts for all of those slogans.
Every one of them.
Does he own SmackDown? Did he make up SmackDown?
No, he doesn't own SmackDown. He doesn't own SmackDown. Poodlerific. You the best, Sam. You the best, Hot Dog. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Poodlerific. I saw that, Matthew Nugent. You little rascal. Poodlerific says, love the John Wick breakdown, Bowery King Sam. Ah, so you loved the breakdown, I see. Oh, everybody's awesome in that movie. Everybody. All right, guys. I appreciate all you hanging out tonight. And I appreciate all you getting down with what we're getting down with. I promise you, and I was wrong last week and I'm wrong this week, we're not going to keep doing episodes that are an hour long. They're going to be shorter. Just brace yourself now. We're only doing 2 topics. And so we're not going to take an hour, you know.
He's lying.
You got 5 styluses. You might as well use them. I'm going to cheers with you later.